Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live news up here at Desawe in Konda. My name is Alfred.
And I'm Natalie Ford. To look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate says Kumasi Academy swine flu outbreak has been brought under control.
Government to roll out a $600 million policy from next year to achieve 100% electricity coverage nationwide.
Also ahead this evening, Accra Regional Police Command to deploy 3,000 officers and men to police key areas within the capital ahead of Christmas.
And in business tonight, Ghana and Germany sign €100 million bilateral investment and reform partnership to promote private investment into renewable energy and vocational training.
And in international news this evening, the United Nations warns of a rise in trafficking of the synthetic opioid tramadol across West Africa. We've got the details of these stories for you here on News 360, including the latest from the world of entertainment and sports. And we're streaming all across the world on 3news.com as well as TV3 Ghana on Facebook. On to our very first story this evening. The Chief Justice Appiah Kufuor Tuesday reproved two members of Parliament for adding the title Honourable to their names in a writ they filed before the court. She described the act as improper, adding the MPs were not supposed to add such titles to their names.
The two are National Democratic Congress MPs for the Ashaman constituency, Ernest Nogbe, and Juaboso constituency, Kwabena Minta Akando. They had gone to the court to seek a revocation of the appointment of Gender Minister Otiko Afisa-Jaba. They wanted the court to annul her appointment over her failure to undergo the mandatory national service, and it is in that writ that they both added Honourable as titles to their names. When the case was called on Tuesday, Chief Justice Appiah Kufuor expressed concern over how the names of the two MPs had been written. She said, "The people who developed the tradition don't do this." Justice Appiah Kufuor said the right thing to do was to write their names first before adding Honourable Member of Parliament and the area to it. She said the use of Honourable as a title is dishonourable.
Let's still stay. The courts and the Supreme Court has described as incompetent a writ challenging the appointment of Otiko Afisa-Jaba as Gender and Social Protection Minister. The court held it could not hear the case because lawyer for the two plaintiffs, Godwin Tamaklo, did not possess a valid Solicitor General's license at the time of issuing the writ.
Member of Parliament for Ashaman constituency, Ernest Nogbe, and the Member of Parliament for the Juaboso constituency, Kwabena Minta Akando, headed to the court in February this year, saying Otiko Afisa-Jaba could not occupy the position due to her failure to undertake the mandatory national service. Lawyers for the minister, led by Nutifafa Kwenyahia, raised an objection when the matter was called on Tuesday. They said lawyer Godwin Tamaklo lacked a valid license to practice at the time he issued the writ. In his response, lawyer Tamaklo told the court he had applied for a renewal of his license and had not received it when he issued the writ. The Chief Justice Appiah Kufuor, who was presiding, asked the lawyer if that was the case, and he replied in the affirmative. The 7-member panel unanimously dismissed the suit. The court explained the decision, saying it could not hear the matter due to the lawyer not having a license at the time of issuing the writ. The writ was struck out as incompetent.
And still with the courts, an Accra District Court has rejected an application for the discharge of 6 accused persons standing trial for the murder of the military officer Major Maxwell Mahama. The court, presided over by Wolano Kotoku, maintained the Attorney General needed to come with a written application instead of an oral application.
According to a state attorney, Evelyn Kilson, the AG is ready to start the committal process, hence the need to discharge the 6 persons for lack of evidence. She added the AG on Monday, December 11, filed a bill of indictment which has details of the persons to be discharged with the court registry. But the court presided over by Wolanyo Kotoku insisted there was the need to go through due process. He added the court is yet to receive a copy of the bill of indictment, hence the decision to reject the plea. The 6 are Yawano, Philip Bedu, Kwame J, Solomon Saki, Vivian Asahene, and Anthony Amoa. 22 persons are currently facing prosecution for their role in the killing of Major Mahama and have been charged with murder. Major Maxwell Mahama was on May 29 lynched by a mob at the central regional town of Dinchabuasi. The case has been adjourned to December 19.
And away from the courts. Now, the University of Ghana, Legon, says it will review its security arrangements in the wake of the stabbing of a Commonwealth Hall student to death. Professor Drew also says while the university is embarrassed about the stabbing, it will look at its own internal security control mechanisms.
How embarrassing is this to the university?
Well, to the extent that this could have happened anyway. Mind you, and I've said it time and again, let us leave our students out of this because it has nothing to do with our students. It's not an issue involving University of Ghana students. People coming from outside. And this could have happened anywhere. It's unfortunate that it happened on campus. So to that extent, let us say that we are sorry it did. But as it is, as a nation, can we just decide that no one should enter campus? No. So it happened on the land of Ghana. But let me indicate once again strongly that the public should leave our students, our dear students, out of this. It has nothing to do with students. It has nothing to do with security or insecurity on campus. Yes, it has nothing to do with us as a university, just that it happened on our campus, and we are sorry for that.
What measures finally will the university be taking to stem some of these things from going on?
Yeah, we generally thinking about the entire security system on campus. Yes, but for things like this, you could call them accidental. You have no control. When people come from outside and are arguing, do you expect me to come from my residence and monitor them? I mean, there are things that can happen anywhere. Excuse me, even at the seat of government, it could have happened. It's an accident that occurred, but we are taking security, seriously. And so we're going to meet over this to see what we can do.
On to some other top stories this evening. The Ashanti Regional Health Directorate says the outbreak of swine flu, which has claimed the lives of 4 students of the Kumasi Academy, has been brought under control. Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran says the 11 students who are currently on admission at 4 hospitals in Kumasi are also in stable condition. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
85 students of the Kumasi Academy were affected with the H1N1 influenza type A virus. 4 out of the students have lost their lives. 11 others are on admission at KNUST, Kumasi South, Menchia and the Komfanochi teaching hospitals. Addressing the media in Kumasi, Ashanti Regional Director of Health Services Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran said the situation has been contained to prevent further spread.
My recommendation as a public health person is that it will be better to use antiviral at this time than to go in for mass immunization. And from this, the school can never be closed down because the job is well done.
Dr. Tinkran assured parents the school is now safe for the return of the students. He, however, said the swine flu vaccines are not ready to be administered.
I don't think I'll have to go to the school and do vaccination because what I'm seeing right now shows that the epidemic is almost ending.
The Health Directorate has strengthened surveillance on the students to ensure prompt administering of antiviral drugs. The Health Directorate insists the cause of the death of the students is H1N1 flu, despite disputes by some medical doctors and the bereaved families. The directorate has received 800 boxes of Rulenza and 1,000 pieces of respirators from the Women's Health Wealth for the treatment and prevention of influenza A and B viruses. Some parents have started sending their wards back to the school.
Now, this issue is certainly concerning because, as we know, the situation in the Kumasi Academy, Kumaka, is not in isolation, and it raises concerns of the health station and the health situation at these various schools. I'm going to run us by on the screen here what a health picture looks like in other schools, in addition to Kumasi Academy. Now, in Kumaka, 11 students died of meningitis earlier in the year in H1N1. All in the year 2017. Clementina Konedu was the only female who's been laid to rest, and she was said to have died of influenza flu. Now, on to some other schools. In addition to Kumaka, the Koforidua Sec Tech, the Ghana Health Service confirmed students died of bacterial meningitis. That's Dennis Yao Ichampong, who was a Form 2 student of the school, died after complaining of fever, body weakness, as well as stiff neck. And 22 students were put under monitoring. These were students who were in close proximity with Dennis, who were put under monitoring by the Ghana Health Service in case they showed any signs or symptoms of the meningitis disease. And on to another school where such a situation, a health alert, has occurred. In the St. Martin's Senior High School, over 20 students reportedly collapsed. Students were rushed to the Nsawam Government Hospital. 18 students complained of heartaches, while others were reported to have collapsed. And the Nsawam Government Hospital actually attributed the collapse to exam phobia and said it was only hysteria and nothing critical. So this case, however, can go excused. But it does not put aside the fact that the issue of health facilities provided at these schools a major concern, because parents continue to worry as some of their children lose their lives due to situations like this. Alfred? Absolutely,
and Natalie. And we've been joined in studio by the chairman of the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, Mr. Bright Appiah. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, it appears that these cases that Natalie just ran us through are separate incidents, but there's a fundamental correlation in there that it's happening in senior high schools, leading to the death of some students in some cases, right?
Yes. Well, when the news broke out, we also did our investigations, and before that, we were trying to look at some issue that happened to students in other schools like Achimota, Holy Child, the Wesley Girls, and this Kumaka. So we're trying to find out what exactly causes some of these issues and all that. But clearly, what we have identified is that beyond the issue of the medical issue that we're talking about, there are other issues that also has to do with the care and attention that we have to give to children. Those are the basic things that we identify, that some of these things do not receive the kind of attention that it deserves because authorities are not being proactive enough to respond to take the immediate step to deal with those issues. So we are dealing with the medical aspect, but I think that one of the things that the authorities must also take into consideration is how the administration respond to some of these when they happened, because N1H1 clearly shows that once it happens and you take measures immediately, you can also rescue the children from some of these situations and all that. So we are looking at that aspect. Then again, you look at the boarding facilities. It's an issue that we have to address, because the arrangement of chairs in the
ventilation, the space in there. Because for Kumaka, for example, I do recall that the minister in charge of the Ashanti region said that upon visiting the school and going through the dormitories, some of the windows were so small, some of them they don't even have fans in there. So it's a clear case of lack of ventilation, which could influence the spread of some of these diseases.
Of course, because if you look at some of the diseases that have been declared, are things that can be, they are transferable. So basically, you need to also take into consideration some of these factors, so that when you are looking at the situation of children in that environment, you take those into consideration.
Now, how about the infirmaries in the senior high schools? I mean, because I know the Ghana Health Service has recommended the resuscitation of some of these infirmaries. How is that going to help in the scheme of things going forward?
Yeah, well, if you take a critical look at some of these facilities, clearly most of the secondary schools do not have the facilities that can easily respond to some of these things, unless they get medical attention from outside, because per the requirement of building a school, one of the things that you need to have is a sick bay or a mini clinic where children can get first aid and then also put on certain medication when the situation is out of hand and all that. But most of secondary school do not have that, and even if they do, they expect that at least the design is not that they want the medical doctors to be there every day, but periodically they have to visit. But if you go and you see the number of times that the medical doctor comes to the school, even within a week, you could even you realize that even for a week or a whole month, there's no name a medical doctor there to attend to them.
Some teachers have to do it by
some teachers, exactly,
who are not medical officers.
Exactly.
Now let's go to the St. Martin's situation. You'll find out this is going to be early on when the day we spoke to the medical director at some government hospital, and he indicated that this is a normal occurrence every year for the past few years gone by. Students collapse out of hysteria or exam phobia, and so this is not new. Are we normalizing an abnormality? Because I mean, come to think of it, what would make students on a yearly basis collapse when exams is approaching?
Yeah, well, when I heard it, I was a bit laid back, because you are not a medical officer for you to come to the conclusion that this is what caused the situation. And even if that is the case, it is purely psychological. So you cannot even place it in the context in which he posed it. So clearly, for me, some of these things happen. We need to do investigation about it and then arrive at a certain conclusion. But people rushing to make certain comment, I don't think that it will help the situation. So once there's issue happening to children, one of the things that we are required to do is to ensure that we protect their interest first. So whatever we have to do to ensure that we put children first, we have to do it. So those are the things that, for me, we should be looking at. Because if
the school authorities, should we not be asking them questions as to why this is happening in the school every other year, that students are collapsing?
You see, we have put a case before the court concerning some of these things that are happening in the secondary schools, and we are hoping that the court will look at it and then give a ruling that will be binding on all schools in terms of how they respond to some of these things. The attention, the little thing that they do that put children at risk and all that. So once we get there, we are hoping that something good will come out of it. But for the meantime, I would urge parents to be calm, and then let's also listen to the advice of the medical officers, and then whatever they recommend, we'd also have to follow it so that we bring the situation under control.
Thank you, Mr. Appiah. Grateful. Bright Appiah is the chairman of the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. Joining us to talk about a number of issues happening in some senior high schools, unrelated but very fundamental relationships with all the issues that's happening in there. But away from that, Unilever Ghana has embarked on an education for students and staff of the Kumasi Academy on how to avoid the spread of swine flu. The move, the company says, is to strengthen the fight against the outbreak of the disease. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
The outbreak of swine flu at Kumasi Academy has already claimed 4 lives. Students of the school are currently being treated to curb the spread of the infections and further death. The Ghana Health Service and the World Health Organization are expected to start vaccinating the students before the close of the week. Unilever Ghana has taken the students through hand washing and hygiene education as a way of containing transmission and spread of the disease. The company also presented 100 cases of assorted variants of Lifebuoy soap to be shared among the students and staff. Customer Director of Unilever Ghana, Gladys Amwa, said the antibacterial soap will help battle the effects of the swine flu attack.
We have a brand called Lifebuoy, which has been formulated to help deal with germ-causing diseases, and we felt it was apt for us to come and help the school find a solution through the donation of some of our Lifebuoy toilet soaps to help the kids deal with the challenge that is currently facing them.
The company intends extending its hygiene campaign to other schools.
We've already touched over 100,000 individual students. We will continue to roll it out. It's not just about the swine flu. It is about creating a country with a well-being culture. And washing your hands is one of the most important aspects of driving well-being. So we will be rolling it out across the country.
Meanwhile, some parents have started sending their awards back to school after taking them home last week. On to other stories. Residents of Appiah in the Volta region have given the Volta Regional Police Command 14 days ultimatum to produce 62-year-old man George Akoli, who was reported missing on Saturday, November 25. George Akoli reportedly disappeared during a festival at Alavanyokpemi and has since not been seen.
Hundreds of residents marched through the streets chanting and demanding an end to the unwarranted killings within Nkonya and Alavanyo traditional areas. The 62-year-old George Akoli was reportedly abducted at Alavanyokpemi. Reports alleged that a man called with George's phone claiming to be called Lucifer from Nkonya. It was alleged that the said caller claimed George Akoli had been killed by them and so no one should bother looking for him. The police promised to investigate the incident, but nothing has been heard 18 days after, hence the anger. The demonstration was to draw attention to the fact that Nkonya, which is alleged to have kidnapped George Akoli, is drawing the people of Appiah into the decades conflict with Alavanyo. The Tuesday action is said to have the backing of the chiefs and queens of the area. The demonstrators are demanding that George Akoli be brought back to them dead or alive. They have therefore given the police a 14-day ultimatum to come up with answers, or they would advise themselves. Sasadu is an annual festival celebrated by the people of Appiah, Akrofu, Sovie and Alavanyo in remembrance of their ancient migration to their present settlement.
Now, government is to roll out a $600 million policy from next year to achieve 100% electricity coverage nationwide. The policy process is expected to span a period of 3 years, aimed at expanding the economy to create adequate jobs. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gave the hint when he took his turn at the forum to discuss the Sustainable Development Goals in Accra.
The $600 million initiative is to address the electricity gap existing between the rural and urban areas. Currently, it has achieved 84% coverage, awaiting to complete the process by 2018. This forms part of government decision to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 7. Under Goal 7, residents are to access affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy. However, due to the lack of electricity in deprived areas, businesses have failed to set up in those areas. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was confident the new initiative would address the power gap.
We are currently around 85%, but to get to 100%, we need around $600 million to get there. So we're saying, well, in that case, this is important enough. So let's allocate the money over the next 3 years to make sure we get to 100% coverage, so that at least we can say that problem has been solved.
He again spoke about the need for farmers and other businesses to add value to their items to speed up exports.
When you add value to it, you get so much more. A bar of chocolate, if it's $1, our farmers get less than 10 cents of that bar of chocolate. If you look at bauxite and you produce 1 ton of raw bauxite, is $60 per metric ton.
Chief Executive Officer for the Private Enterprise Foundation, PEF, Nana Osebonsu, implored government to ensure that taxes paid are judiciously used to address poverty issues.
How would I want to employ disabled people? But if government can guarantee that we guarantee a contract to you, your company, that provides an income to allow you to employ the disabled people and pay them meaningful salaries, it makes sense for the private sector to invest.
Other speakers emphasized the need for African government to capitalize on the $12 trillion amount earmarked by the United Nations to support the achievement of the SDGs.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub at Disawe Kanda. We've got some business news for you shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360 and Business News this evening. Ghana and Germany have signed a €100 million bilateral investment and reform partnership to promote private investment into renewable energy and vocational training. Receiving German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier at the Flagstaff House, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo pledged to strengthen ties between the two countries.
The state visit by German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier is his first trip to an African country since he took office in February 2017. The visit also underlines the close partnership between Ghana and Germany 60 years after establishing diplomatic relations. Before the two leaders addressed the media, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and his German counterpart Friedrich Kischelt signed a €100 million partnership to support renewable energy and vocational training.
We, from the German side, offer our support in advisory services, our experiences in Germany in an adapted way, and financing to bring about further development in the area of renewable energies, financial sector, and also vocational training. We're in good discussions, and we will conclude overall sectoral reforms which bring the sector forward and open further broad space for private sector development in Ghana.
It's a clear sign of Germany's identification of Ghana as an important pillar of stability in the region and an economic zone that has to be supported. The work our president has done with bringing macroeconomic stability and fiscal consolidation is the way to go.
President Akufo-Addo pledged a much more deeper relations with Germany.
Small and medium-scale enterprises are the overwhelming numbers of enterprises in our own economy. And how to scale them up, strengthen them, is a major challenge of policy for us in Ghana. We believe that this is an area where we can profit very strongly from the German experience and the German model. Training of its workforce. And it shows by the continuing performance and resilience of the German economy. This is another area of great concern for us.
German President Steinmeier praised Ghana for economic recovery policies. He pledged his country's continued support in the areas of education, small-scale enterprises, development and renewable energy to ensure that the current economic restoration in Ghana is sustained.
Now, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Robert Ahum-Kalensi has urged German investors to put their money behind Ghana's growing economic opportunities. Speaking at a German-Ghanaian business forum, he justified Ghana's economy has high prospects for safe investment.
As part of the state visit of the German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the delegation of German Industry and Commerce, in collaboration with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, organized the German-Ghanaian Business Forum. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry outlined government's 10-point industrialization strategy for the economy, which includes development of an integrated aluminium industry, pharmaceuticals, and an industrial park.
We have significant iron ore deposits, but probably even more important, we also have manganese. We have been exporting manganese, and the two, by the way, make steel. We've been exporting manganese and importing steel. That doesn't make a lot of sense to us. So we're again interested in an integrated industry along those areas.
The head of the delegation of the German Industry and Commerce praised Ghana for being a favorable hub for business and investment opportunities in Africa.
How you manage the transition, I think that shows political stability, and that, of course, is one of the key factors being active in business engagement.
The CEO of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, said the center will ensure a win-win situation between foreign investors and the country.
We are actually even looking to do high-speed train from Accra right through to Kumasi, through to Tamale, to Paga, which opens out to Burkina Faso, says that you can move from the south of to the north of the country in about an hour and a half. We believe that will open out further business engagement and make Ghana more efficient.
Away from Ghana-German relations, board chairman of GHL Bank, Agbesi, has discounted a research that suggests the future of local banks could be challenged in the years ahead due to the strict application of the Basel II and III standards and the recapitalization of banks. He says the ownership status of a bank is of less importance as long as the bank contributes to the development of the local economy in which it operates.
Research on local ownership of banks as against foreign ownership across Africa showed Côte d'Ivoire, Nigeria, and South Africa as the only countries whose banks are owned by majority domestic investors. Côte d'Ivoire had 100% local ownership, 80% by Nigerians, and 76% locals owned assets of banks in South Africa. In Ethiopia, state-owned banks are predominant, and in Mozambique and the Republic of Congo, foreigners owned most assets. Between 1992 and 2006, the local ownership of banks in Ghana averaged 61%, but that figure has fallen to an average of 48% between 2007 and 2016. The Bank of Ghana announced that all banks must increase their minimum capital to 400 million Ghana cedis by December 2018 in order to, among others, increase the capital base of the banks, as it is important for ensuring financial sector stability. According to findings by GN Research, the possibility that some banks, especially the local ones, are unlikely to meet the new capital requirements presents the potential for increased concentration and decreased competition. Some analysts say foreign banks may not be as committed to the development of the local economy than local banks. Hence, the objective of the recapitalization might be lost. However, the board chairman of GHL Bank, Agbesi, says whether banks are local or foreign owned, what is most important is the contribution of the bank to the development of the economy.
The important thing is to have a well-capitalized, strong bank. It's true that we need to have indigenous shareholding. I would rather we had that through the stock exchange, so that we would have more retail investors and other partners participating in it. Whether it's foreign or local, the important thing is the bank should be able to help in the development of the country. It's a question of people coming up with the capital to support the growth of banks.
That wraps up the business news on News 360 this evening. You can visit our website 3news.com for some more business news. Alfred, on to you for some other stories.
Thank you, Natalie. For business, Operation Father Christmas. I'm talking about the Accra Region Police Command. They've deployed some 3,000 police officers and men to police key areas within the capital and its environs. Additionally, the regional command is deploying 50 more motorbike patrolmen to augment the efforts of those already in the system. These are all aimed at ensuring a crime-free Christmas.
A review of crime trends this year show rampant use of both registered and unregistered motorbikes in crime. These criminals, through their operations, have attacked persons and shops, phone card vendors, utility sales points, and similar business outlets, among others. The regional command estimates an increase in these activities during the holiday season, hence the pragmatic approach.
What the police will do during this festive season is to increase police presence and assure the public of our readiness to protect them even at the peril of our lives. What the police require of the general public is also to observe basic personal security precautions and notify police on suspicious characters to augment what the police is already doing on the grounds.
The 50 motorbike patrolmen are to augment the efforts of those already in the system.
Notable areas for street robberies, pickpocketing, and other violent crimes, among others. Not forgetting our usual fight against land guards.
Owing to the magnitude of activities and crimes associated with Christmas, the Accra Regional Police Command will from Wednesday, December 13, deploy a significant number of personnel originally working in offices onto the streets.
The region is leaving no stone unturned and are deploying about 3,000 police officers and men, in addition to the national deployment.
He assured of police visibility in all communities, residential areas, entertainment centers, shopping centers, market areas, religious and special events, among others.
Hoya, how would you feel seeing Santa not in red and white, but in a police uniform?
Well, that would be a different
Amazing.
Santa.
That's for the Christmas, I mean, well, yeah, Christmas
Yeah,
for police.
operation.
We're back shortly with some sports news. Do stay.
In entertainment news tonight, most TV drama series are meant to give people a good laugh. However, TV3's latest edition, Solutions, is to educate entrepreneurs on how to grow their businesses.
I need a business plan. You want to plan a business in Ghana? Not lie.
In an economy where setting up a business is one of the most tedious tasks to lay hands on, where getting funds for entrepreneurship is harder than getting funds for parties, the struggle becomes real. It's a drama series that identifies and gives remedies to the unwinding problems associated with startup businesses, small and medium-scale enterprises, as well as give ideas in diverse areas of the economy. The initiative of Ingenious Africa in collaboration with TV3 and Premium Bank debut on December 13 with the likes of Ecole Smith Asante, Roslyn Ingiza, Elaine Atto and Fifi Coleman. The series looks to impact the youth and tune their minds towards making something for themselves instead of depending on the provisions of white-collar jobs after school.
You're welcome.
Where's your boss?
And who may I say is calling?
Shirley, I'm here for an interview.
Very well. Please come with me.
CEO of Ingenious Africa, Alexander Boedi, said the series will have satiric effect that will break down its components for the understanding of the ordinary Ghanaian.
We want the SMEs to grow with us. They grow with the solutions consultancy. It's dramatized that every episode will teach something. And we've structured this so that at the end of the first season, for instance, all SMEs should know, for instance, that they should have a business plan. If you don't have a business plan, then you're going to muddle through. You do try and error.
He also noted a rendition in several local languages broadcast across the country on various radio stations. Solutions airs on TV3 every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Oh, it promises to be very exciting and educational. We've got some more news for you shortly. Stay with us.
All right, so news just coming through. One student at the Damongo Senior High School in the West Gonja district has been confirmed dead. The student, whose name is yet to be given, according to the district chief executive, Said Mohadu, died at about 1 p.m. today, December 12, 2017, whilst on admission at the Damongo Hospital. 9 others, we're told, are currently on admission at the Damongo Hospital. Officials have revealed have not yet established the cause of death, but admissions are yet also to be known, as blood samples of the students have been taken to the laboratory. TV3 News gathered that the 9 have complained of various medical conditions, from fever to bodily weakness. So that's the news just coming through, that one student of the Damongo Senior High School in the West Gonja district has been confirmed dead. There's a laboratory test ongoing for 9 others who have been admitted as the Damongo Senior High School students. That is what's happening there now. So one student of the Damongo Senior High School in the West Gonja district has been confirmed dead. The student, whose name is yet to be given, according to the district chief executive, Said Mohazu, died at about 1 p.m. today. And whilst on admission at the Damongo Hospital, we're told 9 others are currently on admission. That's 9 students of the Damongo Senior High School. We're keeping an eye on this, and this is the news just coming through, and it comes on the heels of what's happened in Kumasi Academy and Koforidua Sectech, and also that hysteria situation at St. Martin's Senior High School. So there's a lot of the issues coming out on this. And stay with us in our subsequent bulletins. Bring you some more details on this breaking news just coming through. Well, On that very worrying note, we want to thank you for staying with us here on News 360. Stay with us. There's a lot more on this. My name is Alfred.
And I'm Natalie Force. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. News at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Next is Sadia. Have a lovely evening.